D&D knowledge is not my forte. So what do we feel? Is it just Xayah?
If I'm Viper, I just, you know, take away that Kai'Sa. It's just like,
yeah,
all right, I'm going to lock it in then since you want to play it. No, I think
well,
probably...
I imagine as soon as they locked it in, they probably communicated or like,
yeah.
they have the comms, right? So, but I'm feeling Xayah. I think they're already showing a good amount of dive. Kind of a no-brainer. And then they go, what, Kai'Sa Nautilus? I know the Pike was being hovered, but I think Kai'Sa Naut makes a ton of sense. Can go Rel as well because the Alistair has been taken off the board.
Yeah. Well,
it was just Kai'Sa.
All right. Well, Kai'Sa's locked in here on HANWHA Life Esports' side. So as you mentioned, it's probably because they got the communication in on time, and so the fact that it was locked in on the other side, that's not HANWHA Life Esports' fault. So, I mean, still a lot of good choices left. The Corki has been also very successful. Kai'Sa sitting at 6-0 at the moment, whereas Corki pretty high up himself. He is 4-2 as a selection. There is the Rakan. So Rakan will be selected. And now we have Poppy. You mentioned this was the, you know, this is essentially what Delight loves to play in the support role, and it's very good into what they're showing.
Well, it's great into what they're showing.
It requires you to get a decent lead moving into that mid game, as you mentioned. So we'll see if they can have that happen, and from there, if they can figure out how to do the math later on in the game to make the right decisions. As here's the comm for HANWHA Life Esports. Looks like we're ready to hop on the rift for game number 1. Let's do it.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
Here we go, game number 1. And the DN FREECS got to start out strong here. They did pick the Gwen with both of her lane, I wouldn't call them counters, but at least good matchups for the other sides open. Kind of surprised that Rumble didn't get selected. Just in general, I feel like he's kind of got a higher ceiling in terms of ability as a champion than the Jace, but could just be some bias from watching the games last week.
It's also comfort for Zeus, obviously.
Yeah.
The thing I do really like about Jace is the amount of choice that he has in his runes. I think Phase Rush into Gwen makes a ton of sense. Being able to really hone in on those short trades, because the longer trades, even with Dudu going for Grasp as opposed to something like the Conqueror or Lethal Tempo, which we see a lot in the champion as well, it's definitely going to be a lot harder for Dudu to actually stick on top of the Jace. And then outside, not really seeing anything too surprising when it comes to the setup. I do also want to shout out Pioshik for going the Hot Dog Neferi skin. That one is amazing, and I'm really glad he locked it in.
Yeah, it's very much a Pioshik thing, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm glad that we get to see the skins as well as we're loading in. I feel like that's a great addition.
It's fun
to the LCK this year.
Viper's playing the only Kai'Sa skin, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I've ever seen a different one.
Yeah. If I have, I think I've blocked it out of my mind.
I don't even know if she has other skins, honestly. Who knows? We will never.
Probably not.
We will never know.
Probably not.
As a Dudu.
Good spacing here by Zeus, although he did get hit by the full snip to the face. Gwen did get nerfed on this patch. Just a bit, but the first pick comes in from Dudu, so he says not nerfed enough. And is doing a great job actually in taking these trades. Is up on levels.
With the level up for Zeus though, trade still not too bad.
Look at this timing.
Dudu, he's in.
Oh, he's so baited by this. He does have his flash, but red buff Xinjiao level 3.
There's no way.
And there's the knock up. Although, yep, the follow flash, and now Dudu in a lot of trouble, and they even get the kill over to Zeus. Just insult to injury, as he didn't even go to the bottom side jungle. He just cleared out the top side and went straight top.
Oh, that one really stings. Dudu will be able to TP back, so he's going to be able to catch the wave. But the kill also going over to Zeus. And yeah, credit to Peanut. I think kind of catching off guard. I'm not 100% sure they were able to accurately track where Peanut started. But as you point out, did actually just a full clear and then pathed towards top. So good communication there with Zeus, who obviously was taking some of those trades. I think, you know, I don't know. You never really know how much of it was bait, how much of it was Peanut, please come help me. But with the cookies in particular, I feel like you can stay at lower health totals much more comfortably. And Jose is going to catch this crash. Didn't have to TP, by the way, as you already highlighted this, Valdez. Currently 6-0 is the Kaisa.
She just is very strong at the moment. I think, you know, the crit build we've been seeing a lot, and that has been finding a lot of success. She works with a lot of different compositions. She can be very hard to pin down, but also works great with dive compositions. So just feels like an overall strong pick, even though we're in a meta where obviously there's no lane swaps, and Kaisa could potentially be punished in some of these lanes, but even if she does fall a little bit behind, she's still getting wins.
I do wish Dudu didn't have flash. I think the gank, you know, he can get caught off guard. It's not the end of the world, but flashing when the enemy zins out with red buff is already on top of you, and he has his auto stacked, just... yeah, not the best. And now we'll see how HANWHA Live can leverage this teleport advantage, because we do have the lane swap for the grubs come out, as we always do. But Zeus can generate... Oh, yeah, Dudu's going to have to catch this wave, then base, and then make his way back. So I think he's going to end up missing out on maybe even a full wave here. He's going to be making that gold lead towards the top side of the map even pronounced as... Oh, Zeus actually holding on to his TPs. Yeah, I was about to say... if he did, it would be for the grubs, right?
Yeah.
Trying hard for us, but I think this is the right call. Even with how slow teleport is, getting this wave crash in still allows you to roam towards mid or top if you do want to.
Well, we're going to see Zeus with some free time down on the bottom side. Might even get a plate this early on, especially as Jace with nobody in the lane at all means that you're going to be feeling pretty good. As now Viper is going to have to flash, just kind of looking at the two of them, and Life pulls the trigger. Viper will be punished for that.
And Berserker has been as highlighted many a time in, you know, nice ways, as in Berserker's great, as in not so nice as please free Berserker from his shackles. With how well he's been performing thus far, so would love to see Pioshik also play heavily towards that. Try and enable him. Although this isn't really a AD carry 1v9 comp, you know, need the rest of your team to do a lot of heavy lifting. And here we see exactly what I was talking about. The fact that Zeus had that prio, got the crash in, meant that he can roam towards the mid lane here. We'll have to go back to catch this wave. So it does mean that Peanut can only get a single one, and that is courtesy of Berserker and Life. Well done there. Have the prio on top side, meaning that only a single grub will go over to HANWHA.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion and interviews after the games last week by HANWHA Life Esports talking about how they've really put a bunch of time into how they want to play around the grubs specifically. They weren't satisfied with their priority or just how they were taking fights around that area. So coming into this match, I really wanted to see, especially when you're the big favorite, how they handle these situations, how much better they look in grub fights in general. For now, you know, the setup was good, but they did only get the one, so we'll see where it does end up from there. I feel like both Gwen and Jace extremely dangerous with grubs in a side lane. Zeus, the fact that he's ahead, if he gets, you know, up to 4 grubs, if HANWHA Life can manage that, that could be pretty huge for him for extending that lead.
What's also big with this Jace is that there is no one that can tank the shock blasts, right? Like if Zeus continues to be on this accelerated path, ends up hitting a very early power spike of 2 items, like who actually is able to take any of these blasts?
There's like Celestial Opposition Rakan?
Yes. That's as good as it gets. You know, there's no Cassante, no Maokai, no Sejuani that can shrug it off a little bit more.
Yeah.
So Zeus opts into losing the cannon to get a better back timer. As I say, that just cancels the base.
He just wanted to allow Dudu a chance to catch up.
Well, I mean, there's scenarios where, you know, that's valid. I feel like in that case, there wasn't quite as delay. He got his hiding position found, but...
yeah, back canceled. So wanted to buy more than just a ruby crystal, but was denied. And he'll have to stay here and get some XP from the wave instead.
I could have definitely taken that cannon, though.
He really could. I'm not really sure why he just decided not to. He even had a ward in the bush, unless he placed that afterwards. But either way, was not under any imminent danger. Also had his flash. And now looking for the first dragon here, it is going to be Peanut, who does move over towards the Cloud Drake. Meanwhile, Dudu's just going to TP to the top lane.
Well, actually, I like this, because he has they have a window where there is no TP available for Zeus. So now Zeus is going to lose out a decent amount. Nothing too crazy. Jay's obviously able to get back to lane pretty quickly, but that's going to be a plate for Dudu, and that's a nice amount of gold being invested here. Actually quite like this as well, invest in the ultimate just to get the crash as soon as possible. And HANWHA Life also, I'm pretty sure, don't know where Pioshik is, so I haven't actually tried and leveraged this into something like the dragon. And now Dudu should be able to base and then make his way back towards the bottom half of the map. He doesn't want to play aggressively for it, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, remember when I was like, okay, Peanut's going to go straight for that dragon and take it down? There were so many pings on the dragon, and then he just opted not to. So, very delayed on that, as you were mentioning. And the play around the dragon could be our first big action point here, as Pioshik is looking for the dragon. The mid prio does go to HANWHA Life Esports, as Zeka did win the trade, but TP available for Bulldog if they really want to stake their claim over this, and yes, they will. All four members of DNF are going to group up and take the dragon, and HANWHA Life Esports just say, you can have it. It's fine.
I'm going to contest it. There is also a very valid way of arguing here for HANWHA Life, which is we don't really need to do too much early. Giving up one Drake definitely isn't going to be too big a deal, and if we get to the teamfight stage, we will just beat this team, who have thus far not looked that great. But it's still nice to see FREECS actually being proactive. Again, I think the only person that has suffered a good amount has been Dudu. Both great play from Peanut and also some fault of his own with how that early lane played out. And even the play, it's not really enough to equalize it. And now we'll have to catch the big wave here. I'm pretty sure Zay should be able to pick up a plate for his troubles. Yeah, when you go for the tempo ult into base so you can buy plated steel caps, you know the lane's not going too hot.
Yeah, he's not really enjoying himself up there, is he? Peanut was able to get all 3 grubs, by the way. So that is 4 grubs now for the team and for the Jace, who is ahead. And you're going to be really enjoying that. Nice charm here from Bulldog. Nice amount of pressure. It's not quite enough to, you know, really pressure for the kill, but at least he's pushing him out of lane.
As far as component spikes go, it already was, but Catalyst versus Faded Ashes is going to feel really good. With how strong that build currently is.
Yeah.
We do see Zeka. It's TP back, so we'll be able to pick up most of this. But yeah, I think HANWHA Life have just said, well, you don't really need to do too much. You can just wait for 1 spike on Jace, as well as the Xin Zhao, and then obviously 2 and 3 spikes for both the Azir, but particularly for Kai'Sa. Are going to go really, really crazy, as Yuntal just now finished. And for FREECS, I really do think outside of the Gwen, 2 spike is kind of where they peak, where they are at their strongest, and then after that, good luck.
Yeah. Looks like Life here did walk over some wards. There's a lot of pinging and question marks in that exact pixel brush at the top side, so it's not going to be Zeus getting caught out or anything there. As I say that, you know, on vision, Zeus takes that opportunity to go for a quick trade and back away. Very nice timing by him as Life was clearing the ward in the tri-brush.
Rushing Fazley, not allowing Dudu to trade back.
Yeah. And with these first completed items, at least, as might have to hold that Thaw Delight in an awkward spot. Doesn't have his Hex Flash, doesn't have Hex Flash at all, as I believe that was highlighted by the guys last week. Just going for maybe the cheap shot instead, just going that combination tree second and not going for Hex Flash seems to be the way of the support Poppy nowadays. But yeah, in terms of the one-item spikes, at least Zeka seems to be enjoying his time against the not at all stacked Rod of Ages with his Leandries.
Also have, with that early pathing, Peanut actually falling a little bit behind when it comes to just a straight up. Also, Xin Zhao is not known to be the best farm champion in the game. He's fine, but doesn't really stack up. Kyoshik also going for Shojin first, which is pretty interesting. Usually we see the early Eclipse prio, rather. And for DN FREECS, I imagine looking for Berserker to get his transformation in the second item and then go a lot harder. We'll also see if HANWHA Live want to contest aggressively on this dragon. Because this is some vintage LCK. Fellas, we have 1 kill in 14 minutes, and we've been on topic the whole time.
That's kind of crazy.
Isn't it?
Bro is playing today. It's just not right now. So generally, I'd be like, oh, it's a bro and brew. We're sitting back. You know, we have our bro and brew. I have some barley tea.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Chronicler seems to have nothing over there. Oh,
I have my giant bottle of water, as you do.
You're a big water drinker.
I am.
You and Ox, it's big on the water, but you go more for like the coffee and the tea, whereas Ox is like strictly a water guy.
Yeah, that's really the only free drink. Well, that and milk, because you know I'm Dutch.
Yeah, again with the milk, I don't know about that.
Yeah, you know that I remember reading that for some people it's weird to just drink like a glass of milk with your lunch.
I mean,
not a thing.
As an American, it's not crazy for me, as there was a big campaign for a lot of us to do that as well, for the calcium. This dive is going to be huge, as the flash is fantastic, though, for Bulldog, but the knockup is even better from Delight. Just makes him look silly under the turret. He uses flash and Spirit Rush and still dies.
Oh, how can play? If that was just Delight, he actually outplayed that, and we'll see. Yoshik might get the... Can he get it off? Oh,
no,
just out of range.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say, that was actually, I think, as well played by Bulldog as it could be, but the fact that Viper is there is a big deal. Unfortunately, I don't know if DN FREECS are actually... Oh, they are, yeah. Going to be able to use this timing window where Bulldog is going to come up soon, has TP, and Viper is dead. Should be a second Drake, and... You know, Bulldog ended up dying, but I actually think that stall is a big deal. Plus the fact that Viper had to invest his ultimate and still ended up, even though it was getting executed, that's 2 dragons.
Ooh.
And Infernal, that's one of the ways where I do see that the FREECS actually get a lot more longevity. The side lane situation, though, is getting increasingly worrying, with now Zeka also approaching a 1k gold lead, and Zay is already floating around that for a good amount of time now.
Yeah, it's basically just, I mean, there hasn't been a lot of action in this game, obviously. It's just a couple of kills isolated for HANWHA Life Esports in 2 different moments, but they're still getting huge lane leads. As now Peanut just kind of caught on the Rift Herald. He has his team coming over, and he's Xin Zhao, but he's still forced to flash away from the Rift Heralds. Now we got a TP coming in, though, so DNF not 100% sure if they want to go for this fight here, so they're just going to back away. And they still have that Rift Herald leash, but with Peanut out of the position, he's not going to go for it.
I kind of feel like they would have wanted to. I think the big thing is that Dudu needs to base. Yeah, there you go. And didn't have his Rift Maker yet. So him not being on the 1-item spike, because he was in the area, and they used Peanut, and Viper didn't have his. So I think that they wanted to gamble, could have taken the opening there, but with that second Drake, things not quite as dire.
Yeah, the 2 Drakes definitely going to be good. And it's good that they've got a couple of stacks and that they rolled a good soul. But this could also really backfire. If you're falling really far behind on gold this early on, and HANWHA Life Esports are a team that can also spike pretty decently on 1-2 items, like, you might not get a chance to get another Drake in this game.
No, we're giving DN FREECS a lot of benefit of the doubt, because I feel like maybe whatever they end up doing, it might not work because of HANWHA Life being as strong as they have been. We'll see, though. Thus far, gold lead is there. I want to see some action with this mid-jungle duo, though. That, for me, is the crux of this whole composition, especially when Life is in the area as well. And they're going to have to get some picks on side lane. As Oh, did I tell you about my new coffee brewer, by the way? I picked up.
No, I didn't hear about your new coffee brewer,
It's
Chronicler.
so nice. You know, it's really just pure aesthetics, but it's shaped like a water lily. It doesn't actually have walls, so you just put the filter in. and then it's beautiful. It's really cool.
That does sound very cool.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. I'm a big fan.
You know, eventually one day when, you know, I don't have work or I don't have to take care of my 5-month-old, you know, maybe I can go over to your house again. I remember those good old days.
And play board games and drink coffee.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, you've been making big strides in your cooking.
That's true.
That actually has been great to watch.
Doing some meal prep.
Yeah.
It's been nice. It's been a nice journey. Thanks, Chronicler.
Yeah, I've been doing really well. It's good to see.
Obviously, with your mentorship, it's been helping out.
Well, I don't think we need to involve me in the conversation. Trying to praise you. Don't need to turn the back around. Oh, cancel there. I think Berserker probably hitting that second item. Does obviously still need a transformation. Still a little whiles away.
Peanut tried to summon that over the wall and just kind of missed. You can still do that, right?
Yeah, you
summon it over the wall. Like,
yeah.
That's still a thing.
Yep.
Doesn't really matter. Delays the charge by 0.05 seconds.
Oh, Life found out.
Yeah, Life is seen here. He is recon with Flash. I would imagine that eventually he just dashes away, but it's still a full mid turret, and so now they've got 2 turrets ahead. So HANWHA really enjoying their position.
Zeka also just taken the Herald as an exit. It's like, well, I'm not needed anymore. Let me leave. This side lane problem, though, is going to keep getting bigger, right? I really do want to reiterate that for DN with especially like a dive composition like this, if you start losing control of the map and you can never contest prio in any of your side waves, it becomes really hard to play out. And now we have 2-item Spike Zeus with a transformed
oh my God.
Muramana as well. Yeah, he's very big. And then even though Bulldog is going to hit the spike of his Rod of Ages pretty soon, still kind of pales in comparison. A lot of that is farm, a lot of that is ambient gold as well, just picked up by all the turrets that HANWHA Life have gotten. This next fight is a must-win for DN Freaks. Get the soul point or... yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they have their Corki. He just finished his Manamune.
True.
But it's not stacks.
No.
And it's decently far away as well, so he's not going to have that on time for the Infernal Drake fight. It does look like both teams do want to fight for this one, obviously.
Nashor's is going to be done as well. We'll see, maybe even Viper, after he picks up this wave, will be able to, but I do think that they don't have the time with the dragon spawning. So that's at least something. Berserker and Pioshek actually also hitting the 2-item spike here, so we'll have to see if they can do some heavy lifting. This is a must-win for the DN Freaks Valdez. If they don't get the soul point, I think this game is going to slowly but steadily slip away.
Yeah, and really what it comes down to is how you play out this fight. Like, it is a HANWHA Life Esports lead, but it's not a gigantic lead that's insurmountable by DNF. It's not going to be easy. Bulldog has the angle here on a Zeka. Does a little bit of damage, but, well, Zeka almost still full health. So, not the biggest steal.
It's the puppy. Look at the Light's position here. They need to bait out the W. Otherwise, the dive and the engage just isn't really going to hit the mark.
Yeah. Delay, we talk about his Alistair, we talk about his Rakan. Oh, just going to go in on the Ahri here as Bulldog has to use the Spirit Rush. So that's a trade of ults. I would say that Zeka not having Emperor's Divide for the fight, though, is kind of a big deal.
It is, yeah. We'll see. Bulldog, obviously not sitting on his 2-item spikes, very far behind, but it's going to TP in fresh. I think DN Freaks actually take control here of the river.
Yeah. Shock Blast missing as well. The poke going better for DNF, even with the super fed Jace at this point in time. And might just come down to a flip at this point. Peanut is in the pit, is now looking for the engage. Not going to hit Pioshek, but the smite still goes to Peanut. Life goes in, but just ties immediately, as that is not the engage you were looking for. Pioshek is burning, and he's just barely going to survive. But again, DNF, it's not a huge amount of deaths, but they lose the Infernal Soul point, and HANWHA Life get a bigger lead.
If that smite goes the way of Pioshek, that's worth it. You know, giving up life is fine. Ended up going very low. Yeah, I think so, yeah. But even then, Drake ended up going down to, like, what was it, like 100 something?
Yeah.
But not getting that is such a colossal deal, because it's going to mean that now Infinity Edge is done, right? Peanut's going to hit a second item as well. I think from here on out, things are going to get harder and harder for the DN Freaks, even with Bulldog now also hitting his second item. I think that was the moment that they needed to hit, particularly with Zeka not having his ultimate.
Yeah. it wasn't even a real team fight, it feels like. It was kind of like both teams sitting by the dragon, seeing who would win the smite fight, and then Life went in, and the rest of the team couldn't follow into the pit because there were threats in Banana Brush, there were threats in the river, and he's Rakan. I mean, on his dash out, he died, so he nearly got out, kind of, but the fight was still pretty lackluster, and there wasn't a full committal from the team from DNF,
And
so, yeah.
They need to commit. They can't just sit there and poke. You're playing against Kai'Sa, Azir, and Jace. So, you know, you have Bulldog can do a little bit. Berserker can fire some big ones, but the era of Corki 1v9ing with rockets is long past.
Yeah. Good times.
No,
really enjoyed
times.
that meta.
Times. Valdez?
Yeah.
You were the arguably the biggest hater of that, which is impressive because we did not enjoy it.
We do have a lot of haters here on our team. So yeah, this isn't the most exciting game of League of Legends. This is really a thinking man's game because HANWHA Life Esports have 3 kills, and it feels like the game is over.
Everyone can watch T1 Gen G and be like, oh man, and it was, you know. Arguably, time will tell, but maybe possibly the best regular season game of all time in the LCK could be. It was incredible, broke records. But this is where the real LCK showed themselves because there is nothing happening.
Ah, yes.
You know, this is
the real fans.
The stakes, narratively.
9 match winning streak for HANWHA Life Esports, though.
That'd be nice if they can bring that.
Could be broken as well. So we've seen many a team just try to send it.
Yeah, flip it. Why not?
That doesn't work.
No, they have to. Otherwise, they're going to lose the game anyway. I like it.
True.
Just flip it. Get the buff, win the smite fight, take them down, and then the gold lead's gone. Just get the buff.
Yeah, just got to try to flip it. Their one tank just lost Celestial Opposition, and the Otacon just leaked.
It reset.
Yeah.
That's not good, Valdez.
So they're just going to ping mid and just go mid instead. Well, HANWHA, they're like, well,
you can't really do this.
Your attempt at flipping the game did not succeed. We're just going to push mid.
You know when you go for a skill check and it's like a critical failure, and you're just like, well, now what? Just try again?
It's like, I don't know if you've seen videos of like 2 dogs barking at each other through the fence, but then you open the fence and they turn into like, they're like super tame, you know, they don't want to fight at all. But when the fence is there, they're like barking at each other. That was like DNF was the barking dog, and they were like, we're going to do it, we're going to do the Otacon. And HANWHA Life Esports was actually just calm the whole time. And then the fence was open, and DNF were like, never mind.
Yeah, it really did feel like HANWHA. I've just walked up, looked at them, and then they were like, okay, LA, I don't want to trouble. I'll back off.
Yeah. Yeah. This is,
as you said, Vel, this is
really something.
A thinking man.
If you can't deal with the LCK at its best like this, then you don't deserve us. Wait, I did that backwards.
Wait, no. Actually, I was invested. I was wanting to see where you were going to go with this.
Well, this would be.
If this is the best.
Not as great, then you don't deserve us at our T1 versus Gen G.
Yeah, you know, not everything can be a highlight reel. That's one of the big things. You need to be appreciative of the ebbs and flows of life.
Yeah. Not every day is going to be the best day ever.
No, sometimes you just clock in, have an honest day of work.
You go home, you're like, huh, that was the day.
I will not remember this day.
I enjoyed my time decently. So they're just going to take the Otacon, and DNF say, okay, you can have it. And now they're running away. We'll see how successful that is. As Zeus is frontlining, and he's chasing it, get away from him. He just keeps doing flips in their face. And they're just running away. It's the 3rd time he's done that. Oh no! What happened to Berserker? Where did he go? And he's going to withdraw, sure, but it's 2 kills for HANWHA Life. And that should be a 2nd Drake as well if they'd like, but they might as well take the Baron instead.
Honest day of work. No, that's you log into the game, you build a 2K gold lead, you flash into their faces. Oh, just give him just give him the dragon.
Oh, they're not allowed to
give him
this.
Something.
They're not allowed to have this. Honestly, they shouldn't have even tried. Like, there's no world in which HANWHA Life let them have Infernal Soul Point.
Bulldog is able to TP out. Does not lose to the Grump like some legends before him.
Multiple
I
legends.
still miss you.
Yeah.
As now both the buff. And, you know, DN Freaks, they went for the Hail Mary, didn't work. HANWHA Life takes control of the pit. And I want you to see how little Zeus cares. This is a level 9 Rakan and a level 14 Neferi, and he has the buff.
Berserker, watch his health bar.
He's flashing on top of him!
How do you even react to that? He
Didn't need to do that!
He didn't barrier or flash, because he just died in 0.2 seconds instead. He can't react to that. Although, I mean, when you take the initial flip, maybe you flash then.
This is really some very, very cool subversion of storytelling here by HANWHA Life, because all you want is action. You know, that's what you think, but then they give you the action, and it kind of hurts.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, oh no, I gotta look away, and it's another reminder that the best LCK game is one where there is as little action as possible.
Exactly. Violence is not the answer, ladies and gentlemen. We're just gonna never mind.
Quick.
We're just gonna end them immediately. Although that's a lot of damage from Bulldog as he nearly dies. Reminder: they still have the Otacon buff here, but yeah, they're just playing very, very aggressively because they do not care. 11,000 gold in the lead. The one guy who doesn't have the Otacon buff is the Jace. Zeka goes in. Even Delight is sending it into 2 people as the Otacon buff is no longer around. And HANWHA Life are like, oh, maybe we should back away. And that they will.
Merely a delay of the inevitable, Veldas, as we take another look here. HANWHA Life clearly kind of going crazy here. Peanut just flashing in, Viper diving into the midst of many people. Bulldog actually doing a good amount of damage here, meaning that Peanut ends up going down, which means the front line is gone. And then Zeus doesn't need to be that far up. They are taking the inhib, and then he just walks up instead, ends up going down, and then the timing here ends up working out very nicely for the DN Freaks as Delight and Viper go, you know what, we don't need to be here.
Yeah.
We can just leave. And they do.
The Otacon buff on Zeka expired while he was in Zhonya's. So it was actually better to not Zhonya's.
And that's Brendan Velda saying that.
Yeah.
That never happens.
It's the strongest item in the game. It's a lot more expensive nowadays, but it's still the strongest. Delight is sending it into 4 people because I guess why not? You know, this is how teams get back into games, by the way. Just make enough mistakes like this. I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah. Not really showing the respect to DNF at this moment.
Yet another reminder that sometimes violence is not the answer. You know, maybe don't jump into 4 people.
I don't think that's the FREECS Chronicler. I don't think there's a sometimes at the beginning. I think it's just violence is not the answer.
We're playing League of Legends, you know, like they're gonna have to take down the Nexus eventually. Unless
in League of Legends. Oh, the blast cone, the disengage cone denied. We might actually have some action. Peanut in a bit of trouble. He is quite tanky, but he will be taken out. The TP as well, utilized, but it doesn't really get anything. And so another kill goes to DNF. And this was an 11,000 gold lead that's now 7,000 gold.
It's getting smaller.
Yeah.
As Pioshik straight up sends it. And this is what this comp wants to do. And obviously this is also kind of being allowed by HANWHA Life by just handshaking on these silly plays. Started off kind of by Delight there in bot lane. But this is what the comp wants to do, right? They have a ton of mobility, really easy ways to get backline access. They just don't want to fight an actual 5v5. So if they keep doing this for like 10 more minutes, you know, maybe there's a chance, Veldas.
There's always a chance.
Can you
if
imagine?
The Nexus is alive.
Always. Inhibitors are about to come back up in, you know, only 2 minutes. That's not that much. It's a good amount of time, though. They also are not going to lose Soul. Just Soul Point, which is fine. Really struggling with what the actual takeaway from this is. I'm trying to learn.
I think, you know, every team in the LCK can have happy gaming, and HANWHA Life did a bit of happy gaming.
Well, it wasn't happy though at the beginning. It was very structured.
Yeah.
And very tightly wound.
And then they thought, okay, we have an 11,000 gold. They don't know exactly how much, but we're very far ahead. We can just do whatever we want.
And then they did that. And then it turned out that they couldn't. That's okay, the TP.
The flank TP, as Zek has the most damage by far, by the way. Here comes Bulldog. He's going to miss that charm. Peanut goes in onto him, gets charmed up himself, but no follow-up is there. And holding the windmill is Delight. And so no engage will come through for DNF. And that's just going to be another Infernal Drake over to HANWHA Life Esports. Especially with 2 inhibitors still down, they really can't reliably leave their base after a fight like that.
Maybe it's about resilience.
You mean the message that HANWHA Life is trying to send?
We need to find out what they mean by this.
Yeah, what do they mean by this? It's kind of hard to tell.
Maybe it's not HANWHA's story, but it's DNF's, and they're like, they're not giving up. You know, we're still TPing, we're looking for flanks. Gwen is about to get a death cap. That's a huge spike. Still have the arm guard, by the way. Cannot give this up, but the ward not spotted. Oh.
Immediate TP, they should know, but look at the damage here out of the Baron. Pyosik trying to get in, but he's just denied by Steadfast Presence the whole way. And he's not even going to try to like flash and ult into that one. They didn't quite have the vision to get in. There was a control ward. So that's just Baron over to the side of HANWHA Life Esports.
Oh, I love that from Life there. That's if they try to collapse and take the shortcut there, they could have actually turned, but HANWHA Life not cutting any corners. This time around, actually walking around, literally not cutting corners. And now with the Baron buff, Finger Nexus is about to fall, Valdez.
There's still a chance as long as the Nexus is alive. That's what I've learned from this game. I think HANWHA Life Esports are trying to give us that lesson.
It's a lot of layers, certainly.
Yeah. We're trying to get in onto the Jace. That is a lot of flashes, but immediately Peanut comes in like the hero. And says, get down, Mr. Zeus. And now we've got the engage coming in. Nice Zhonya's from Bulldog. I'm not sure it's going to be enough, though. Viper in the base, just taking everybody down. He does get extremely low, though, as Pyosik doing an incredible amount of damage with Berserker. But unfortunately, they lost whatever frontline they had, as in goes Delight. And he's got Viper for the backup. Zeka Feast catches the brush, still wins the fight. And Pyosik will live with his dogs, but that is not going to be enough to save his Nexus, as game 1 will go to HANWHA Life Esports in enough time as was necessary.